Hi, this is Jana Whitley, author of the Disney Princess Crochet kit pattern book, and I'm going to continue showing you how to make the Ariel doll that has the materials included in the kit. In the previous video, I demonstrated how to make the head and attach the eyes and make the mouth with the fly stitch and to stuff it. And then I also did a video showing you how to make the arms, which is a very narrow tube made of 4 single crochet around for 5 rounds. So I've made 2 of those for the arms. Next up, we're going to do the body and the tail. So we're going to start with our cream yarn. I've got it wound in a ball here. And I'm going to get my E-hook. And this is not the hook included in the kit. Here's my kit hook, which is the same size, but I prefer to use the clover hook that has the comfort grip, because otherwise my hand gets pretty sore, because I do a lot of crochet. So let's get started with, we're going to chain 8. So first we always start with our slip knot. So I'm going to make the loop and then pull it through like so. Here's my slip knot. Put on the hook, cinch it up. Okay, and grab the working yarn in your non-dominant hand. Then we're going to chain 8. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when you're making your chains, you know, keep the tension so that the hook is just barely popping through that that last loop. So you don't want it so tight that you're fighting to get it through, but again, you don't want it so loose that things are going to be really you're going to have really big stitches. So there's our 8. And now we're going to make a loop by connecting a ring by connecting this with the first. So you go in the, put the hook in the first chain, yarn over, pull it through both, and there you've made a ring. So this is the end of round 1. We're going to make round 2 by single crocheting in each single crochet round. I'm going to use a stitch marker, which is, I just use a short piece of contrasting yarn and lay it in front of my hook, and then I'm going to go into that first chain. That just the one loop is fine for chains, and we go 1, and we go the next chain, and we go 2, and then 3, and 4, 5, 6, and turning as you go, and 7, and 8. Okay, and you'll want to turn it so that make sure that your right side of the crochet is on the outside. So give it a little turn. The right side of the crochet has the V shapes. Okay, and then we're going to move our stitch marker up. And it says the next stitch is rounds 3 and 4. We're going to single crochet around in each. So that's easy enough. And remember, this time we're going to go under both loops of the single crochet of the previous round. So there's 1, and again catch the single crochet both loops. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and that's round 3. We're going to move up the marker. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so we got our fourth round done. Now we're going to do a repeat. Round 5 says to single crochet 2 in the next single crochet next 3 single crochets, and then repeat 2 times for a total of 10 stitches. So we're going to increase in the next. So again, go under both loops. And 1, 2, and then we're going to single crochet the next 3, then 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now we're going to increase in the next one because we're repeating that pattern again. So 1 and 2 in a single crochet. And then we go 1, 2, 3. And then we're back at the end, and you can see, if we look at the top of the stitches, you can count our stitches. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see, I'm going to pull this tail out of the way because we don't need that right there, so I'll just pull that out of the way. Okay, next we're going to single crochet 2 in the next single crochet, and then single crochet the next 4, and then repeat that twice. So for a total of 12 stitches. Let's move our marker up. Okay, and then we're going to increase in that first stitch. So 1 and 2 in the first stitch. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we're going to increase 1, 2, and then in that stitch. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's 12 around now. So this is going to be up here. This is the beginning. Is going to be her neck. Down here is her waist. It's getting gradually a little bit wider. Now we are going to switch to light green yarn to make the frill around the waist. So here's my light green yarn. Let's get that ready. I'm gonna unwrap it. I did not wrap this one in the ball because there's not a lot of yarn here. So I'll just unwind it here. And so for color changing, the method I like to use for color switching is so this is the last single crochet of round 8. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to see this loop. Or the last loop we're going to replace that with green. So I'm going to pull that working loop out and put my hook back in those 2 loops. Or in other words, if let's say I take that last single crochet out, I'm going to go in the stitch, yarn over, pull through with cream. Now instead of finishing the stitch with cream, I'm going to finish the stitch with my new color, which is the light green. So I'm going to grab the light green and pull it through. Now I'm ready to begin the next round. So I'm going to move up that stitch marker. And it says to make the waist frill in the front loops only, slip stitch in the next single crochet. Now this is, so far I've been telling you to always go through under both loops of a single crochet like that, unless you're doing invisible decrease. Now with this one, we just want the front loop because we're going to leave the back loops for making the tail. So take that front loop and do a this one's going to be a slip stitch. So slip stitch is to simply yarn over and pull it through the stitch and that loop on the hook. So there's our slip stitch. And then we're going to single crochet 2 in the next single crochet. And remember, we're going to be working in front loops the whole time. So grab the front loop only, just like that. We're going to make 1 and then 2 in just that loop. Okay, and then we are going to make half double crochet 2 in the next 3 single crochets. So half double crochet, we haven't done this before in this doll. So with a half double crochet, you're gonna yarn over before you put your hook in the stitch. So yarn over and then go into that front loop with the next stitch. So now you've got 3 on the hook. You've got the front loop, the yarn over, and the previous stitch. You're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through. Oh, sorry. Let me back that up again. So yarn over. Okay, then pull through all 3. I got so busy explaining the half doubles I forgot about pattern there. So it's like we're increasing, but this time with half double crochets. And then again, we're going to do half double crochet, the same one again, half double crochet. Okay, and then the next front loop only, half double crochet in the same stitch. So now it's going to want to like stick out like a little ballerina's tutu because we're adding extra stitches. Next we're going to single crochet 2 in the next single crochet. So we go in that front loop only, single crochet 1 and then 2, and then we are going to repeat that sequence. So and then we're going to go in the front loop only, we're going to slip stitch. Oops, it split. Let's fix that. I hate it when the yarn splits. Okay. So there's a single crochet there in that front loop. Let's see if we can get that to focus. And then single crochet in the next front loop. 1, twice. You're going to single crochet twice. So it's 1 and 2. And then we're going to half double crochet twice. 1, 2. And then half double crochet in the next. 1, 2. And then half double crochet twice again. 1, 2. And then in the last stitch, we're going to single crochet twice. 1 and 2. All right, and then it says we're going to it says IFO and with the light green, which means invisible fasten off with a light green. So we're done with that frill. So here's how we're going to do our invisible fasten off. So cut the yarn with about maybe 4 inches. And then you're going to pull that working loop out. You're going to take a needle. Okay, and so see where that slip stitch is? You're going to, you're going to go right in the one right next to the slip stitch. You're going to go under both loops. Take the yarn under both loops. And then kind of pull it so that it's not super tight, but just enough that it looks like a stitch around it. And then you're going to take the needle and go just through go back through this previous stitch, right through the loop, like so. So that it forms what looks like a crochet stitch, or like a V. Then you pull it so it matches the stitches around it. Don't pull it too tight. So there you go. So now this is how it looks. Let's see if there's the chest, and there's this frill. It's gonna kind of stand out like a little skirt. Excuse me. And underneath, you'll see I still have the back loops in the cream, and then we're going to use the back loops to attach the dark green to make the tail. So what you can do now, we're going to leave that red stitch marker in. We're going to let's see, we can leave this cream yarn. We have not cut it yet. So we're going to cut that because we don't need any more cream yarn. So we're going to cut this. We're going to tie a square knot between the beginning of the light green and the end of the cream yarn. So square knot, it's right over left, left over right. Makes a knot that's tidy and tight. Okay, I always have to repeat that, or else I mess up and do a granny knot. Okay, so there's our little ends. We're gonna tuck them into the chest so they don't get in the way. Also, let's weave in. So we've got this little tail end of green. Let's weave that in underneath here so you can't see it. So I'll just go in the stitches here, the underside, and I'll go about an inch or so, like so that you can't see it from above. You can't see the needle. Okay, so pull that through, not too tight because we don't want to cinch up our stitches, and then just give it a little snip. Don't snip your crochet work, and then pull it so it hides that end. All right, so now we can put this light green yarn away and get our dark green yarn. I've wound it into a ball, so I'm going to put it in my little bowl to hold it so it doesn't roll away. Okay, now the instructions tell us to, in the remaining back loops only of round 8, with the dark green yarn, bring up a loop in the next single crochet, chain 2, single crochet around in the next 11 stitches for 12 stitches total. So, see where the marker is there. We're going to just pull the frill down and out of the way. And then we're going to look for the first single crochet. If you're having trouble finding it, what you can do is count back and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And that's our first one. Insert the hook in that remaining loop. So it's just one yarn strand, that remaining loop. So then I'm going to grab leave about 2 or 3 inches. Grab it. Oops. Grab that, pull it through like so. There's our new loop, okay? Now we're going to chain 2. So 1, 2. So that chain 2 is going to act like a single crochet for the first stitch, and then we're going to go 11 around. So the next loop, we're going to go 1 single crochet, and then we're going to go into the next the cream colored loop, and then there's 2, and then turn, push that frill out of the way, grab that cream colored loop. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So starting round 12, I'm sorry, no, this is round 9, and there'll be 12 stitches around. And we're going to go, for the first stitch, we're going to go into that chain 2 space. If you count back 12, you see it's, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the 12th is going to be those first 2 chains. You're going to go under in that little space created by the first 2 chains for your first one. And let's put a stitch marker in. There's my contrasting yarn. And we'll go into that chain space and make a single crochet. So, and then we're going to go around and single crochet in each single crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that's round 9. Let's move the stitch marker up. And we're going to do round 10 and 11 the very same way. Just single crochet around so that you have 12 in each round. Making sure you are catching, going under both loops for each stitch. Okay, that is the end of round 10. We'll move the stitch marker up and we'll start round 11. So same thing, just single crochet in each stitch around. You might want to, it's a good habit to count your stitches at the end of each round, especially if you're new to crochet, because sometimes it's easy to miss a stitch or to accidentally double up in one of the stitches, and then if your stitch count is off, it's going to cause you problems later on. Okay, so that's round 9, 10, and 11. So for round 12, we are going to there's a repeating pattern here where we decrease, single crochet in the next 4, and then repeat it 2 times. So we're going to do that twice. So the first stitch is going to be a decrease. So we're going to catch that front loop, just the front loop. The first stitch, twist it around, catch just the front loop. The next single crochet, yarn over, keeping the tension nice and tight, go through those 2 loops, and yarn over, go through 2 loops. And then we're going to single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another decrease because we're repeating the pattern. So in the front loops only, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and then we're going to finish the round. Make sure you don't go back into that decrease. You want to go into the next single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that brings us back to our stitch marker. We're going to move our stitch marker up. And let's see what it says. It says that we are going to stuff the body. So, got my stuffing here. push it up into the cream colored chest part there. Let's see, you know what, I want to make sure that this green stuff isn't showing in the between the stitches. It looks pretty good, so in fact I'm just gonna trim these guys off. Let's see, let me adjust my camera too, so make sure I get, there we go. All right. Stuff. Okay. And kind of mold it around and make sure it's nice and even. All right, let's continue on with the, we're going to do round 13, decrease, and then single crochet in the next 3, and then repeat that. So it's just that we're narrowing that tube to come to a nice point for the end of the tail. So I'll put my hook back in, cinch up the working loop. So put your hook in the front loop, and then the next front loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then go to the next single crochet, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to decrease again because we're repeating that sequence. So decrease, and then 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, that finishes that round. Okay, and next we're going to decrease, single crochet the next 2, and then repeat 2 times to have a total of 6 stitches around. Let's count and make sure we got 8 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now at this point, when it gets this small, I don't usually use my stitch marker because it kind of gets in the way, and I can just count quite easily. So there's a decrease, and then 1, 2, and then repeat that sequence. So decrease, and 1, 2, so we have 6 around, and then we have decrease, single crochet in the next 4 for a total of 5. So we decrease in the next one. It's going to get really tiny here. Decrease, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finally for the last round, number 16, decrease and then single crochet in the next 3. We'll have only 4 around. So you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to decrease, which is going to make that 4 around, and then we go in the next 3. There's 1. It's getting really tiny. Let's see, if you're having a hard time, you can kind of use your fingers to kind of pull the stitches apart so you can distinguish where they are. So the next one looks like it's right here. There it is, 2. And then the last one is right there. Oof. Tricky. Let's pull it a little. Okay, and there's our last stitch. Okay, so And then we're going to cut the working yarn, pull it through, and let's see how that's looking. So don't worry about you don't want to have stuffing in this last little bit because you want that to be kind of flexible. You just want stuffing to be up here, kind of in the hips area. Okay, and then finally you'll take your needle and you're gonna whip stitch in those last 4 stitches to make it nice and tight. The last bit. So. And then you're going to give it a little tug and make it nice and small. Okay, so here's the finished body for Ariel. And in the next video I will demonstrate how to do the hair.